You know that dream we've all seen in science fiction? The universal translator, just sitting there discreetly in your ear.
Yeah, Babelfish idea.
Exactly. Well, it's not really fantasy anymore. That language barrier is genuinely starting to dissolve, and the tech doing it. It's powered by AI right inside your AirPods.
It is. And today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that.
Yeah.
AirPods Live Translation. We're looking at the practical side.
Right.
So we've taken the official Apple support documentation, the setup guides and all that.
The nuts and bolts.
And we've combined it with a whole load of hands-on reviews, Cult of Mac, Tech Guide, specialized YouTubers like EFTM to really get the full picture. What works, what doesn't, and why this matters, especially with AI.
So our goal here is to give you the shortcut. We want you to understand this feature from the basic tech requirements all the way to how it actually performs in the real world.
Yeah. Let's lay the groundwork, because this isn't just, flipping a switch in settings.
Yeah.
No, it needs some serious horsepower. So what do you actually need to make this deep dive into language, work?
Okay, let's get into those technical bits. It definitely sounds like there's some pretty specific hardware gates here.
There are. And this is where you really see the link to Apple Intelligence. So first, the listening part. You need fairly recent gear.
Okay.
AirPods 4, but specifically the ones with active noise cancellation. Or AirPods Pro 2, or the newer AirPods Pro 3.
Got it. And the phone.
Ah, yes. The phone is crucial. It's the brain, really.
Yeah.
You need an iPhone 15 Pro or a later model.
Pro model specifically.
Pro model, yes. And it needs to be running iOS 26 or later. And this is key.
Right.
Apple Intelligence has to be switched on.
Right.
The magic, as Apple calls it, comes from advanced computational audio and these new generative models.
Okay, hang on. Computational audio. That sounds technical. For someone maybe not deep into audio stuff, what does that actually mean when we're talking translation?
Think of it like this. Your AirPods aren't just dumb microphones recording everything. They're actively listening intelligently.
Okay.
They analyze the sound around you in real time.
Yeah.
They figure out what's background noise like, traffic or cafe chatter, and what's the actual voice you need translated. They isolate that voice, clean it up.
Ah, so it's like noise cancellation, but specifically for understanding speech.
Exactly. And it's critical because if the system mishears the original words, the AI translation that follows is just going to be wrong. Garbage in, garbage out, basically.
That makes total sense. Get the input right first. And you mentioned privacy earlier. The sources seemed quite focused on that.
Yeah, and this is really interesting. Unlike a lot of translation apps that send your conversation up to the cloud.
Right.
With this, Apple's pushing privacy, the big language models you need. You have to download them first onto your device.
Onto the phone itself.
Onto the iPhone, yes. And all the translation processing, the actual conversation analysis happens right there on your phone.
Wow. So nothing sent to Apple servers.
Not for the core translation processing of the conversation. It's a decentralized approach. It means your chats aren't flying off to some server farm somewhere.
That is a massive deal. It changes the game, doesn't it? The speed, the reliability. It depends on your phone's chip, not your internet connection.
Precisely. And it completely shifts how you might think about privacy when you're using translation, especially traveling or for sensitive chats.
Okay, speaking of travel, let's talk languages. What can it actually handle right now?
Well, in launch and beta with some key ones, English, obviously US and UK variants, then French, German, Spanish, and Portuguese. Pretty standard travel languages.
Yeah, covers a lot of ground.
But they're expanding fast. The sources mentioned iOS 26.1 is slated to add Japanese, Korean, Italian, and Chinese, both simplified and traditional Mandarin.
That's huge. That opens up East Asia, Italy.
Yeah.
A massive expansion.
It really is. Suddenly, spontaneous chats become possible in many more places.
So let's say you've got the right phone, the right AirPods, the language pack downloaded. How do you actually start a translation? You don't want to be fiddling in menus when someone's talking to you.
No, absolutely not. They've designed it for speed. You start in the Translate app. There's a dedicated Live tab now.
Oh, okay.
And from there, you've got options. You can press and hold the stems on both AirPods at the same time.
Ah, quick shortcut.
Yep. Or if your hands are full, you can use the action button on the iPhone if you've set it up that way. Or just ask Siri. Or even tap a button in the control center. Lots of ways in.
That flexibility sounds like they've really thought about using it on the go in messy real-world situations.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
Designed for those immediate, unplanned interactions.
Okay, let's shift gears then. Let's talk about the hands-on experience. Theory is one thing, reality is another. The reviews seemed, well, mostly pretty positive, right?
Yeah, largely impressed, I'd say. People felt it was already a really useful tool, not just a gimmick.
So what specifically stood out?
Well, Tech Guide, for instance, they called it remarkable, even nothing short of brilliant.
High praise.
It is. They tested it by listening to a Spanish YouTube video, and they highlighted how the English translation appeared right in their ear and simultaneously as text on the iPhone screen.
Oh, that's clever. Audio and visual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really helps with comprehension, especially if you're maybe trying to learn the language, too.
Yeah, you can see the words as you hear them. Makes sense. What about actual conversations?
Right, so Cult of Mac did a more intense test. They had a live chat with a fluent French speaker, Nylien, a tech blogger, and they really tried to push the system.
How did it cope?
Surprisingly well. They managed, and I quote, a perfectly good chat for a solid 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Using AI translation for a proper back and forth, that feels like a milestone.
It really does. Now, they did add a caveat. They said the phrasing could sometimes be a bit stiffly or robotically delivered.
Okay, so brilliant enough for a 10-minute chat, but still sounds a bit like a robot. How does that work?
That's the interesting part, isn't it? It's brilliant because the underlying AI models, combined with that computational audio we talked about, they seem to grasp the meaning, the intent of what's being said, even across different sentence structures. So the conversation doesn't just collapse.
Okay, so it gets the core message across.
Right. It's robotic because, well, current generative AI still struggles with the nuances of human speech, the rhythm, the idioms, the personality. The intelligibility is the big win here, even if the delivery isn't perfect.
Intelligibility over style. For travel, that's probably the right priority.
Seems like it. And EFTM, another reviewer, tested Spanish translation using a YouTube channel, Hispano Canale, and noted the delay was minimal. It felt like it was, quote, doing it as it goes.
Real time enough for conversation flow.
That's the idea, that on-device processing really helps keep things moving.
Okay, let's just clarify the setup again. We know the iPhone's the brain. Who's doing the listening? Is it the phone mic or the AirPods?
Good question. Based on EFTM's testing, it's primarily the AirPods microphones listening to you.
Okay.
The iPhone then acts as the processor, obviously, but also as the screen to show the translation to the other person. Or if they don't have AirPods, the iPhone can just speak the translation out loud.
Versatile.
Very. And importantly, if you're somewhere noisy, you can actually move the iPhone closer to the person speaking to you, and it can use its microphones to get a clearer signal for their speech.
Ah, that's smart. Use the best mic for the job, depending on the situation.
Exactly. Flexibility for noisy environments.
Right. But it can't all be perfect. This is cutting-edge AI, and that stuff always has quirks. Let's get into the reality check. The limitations, the rough edges, the moments it falls over.
Absolutely. And the prime example, the one that really shows the potential failure point, is that rabbit salad incident from Cult of Mac.
Okay, remind us what happened there.
The reviewer asked a pretty simple question in English. What's your favorite type of salad? While we're at it.
Okay, seems harmless.
But the translation came out meaning, what's your favorite type of salad when he's a rabbit?
Okay. Wow.
And what it tells us is everything hinges on that very first step.
Mm.
The computational audio correctly transcribing the speech.
Ah, so if it mishears the sounds.
Exactly. If you hear something phonetically similar, maybe while we're at it, spoken quickly, sounds a bit like when he's a rabbit to the algorithm.
Which I guess it maybe could if slurred.
Right. Then the AI takes that incorrect text and translates that faithfully. So the translation itself might be accurate for the wrong input, leading to total nonsense.
So lesson learned. Speak clearly. Treat it like a voice assistant you really need to enunciate for, especially if you have an accent or there's background noise.
Precisely. The reviewer suggested speaking with slight pauses, kind of marking the end of your thoughts. Helps the system parse it. But beyond just mishearing things, there's the delay we touched on.
Right, even though it's live, it's not truly instantaneous.
No, there's an inherent lag. Could be just hundreds of milliseconds. Could be a couple of seconds sometimes.
And why is that unavoidable? Why can't it be zero delay?
It's about language structure. Think about German or Japanese. Often, the key part of the sentence, the verb, the main action, comes right at the very end.
Okay.
The AI needs to wait to hear that whole thought, to understand the grammar, and then translate accurately. If it jumped in too early based on the first few words, the translation could be completely wrong grammatically.
So the slight pause is the price of accuracy across different languages. The stiffness, the delay side effects of trying not to mess up complex grammar.
You got it. And then there are the external factors. The sources were clear. Noisy places are tough.
Cafes, busy streets.
Yeah, background noise, multiple people talking at once, the system really struggles. Recognition rates drop, errors go up. Simple sentences, usually fine. Complex ideas, jargon, strong accents, much harder.
And the voice quality itself, we said it was robotic earlier?
Yeah, EFTM specifically called it very computerized.
Yeah.
It gets the job done, the accuracy is there, but it doesn't have that smooth, natural sound you get from, say, the latest Siri voice. It's functional, not polished.
Okay. And there was one other major limitation, a big one, depending on where you live.
Yes. The regional restriction. This is important. Even though it supports European languages, the feature is specifically not available if your Apple account and device region are set to the EU.
The entire European Union. So, okay, let's bring it all together. What does this actually mean for, the average person, someone learning a language, a frequent traveler? How does this change things?
Well, looking at the so what factor, the main use case seems crystal clear. Travel.
Right.
It's designed for those spontaneous chats you have when you're abroad, ordering food, asking for directions, a quick exchange at a hotel desk, or maybe customs. That kind of direct, immediate interaction.
Okay, so good for everyday travel needs. What about something more complex, like, I don't know, trying to negotiate a business deal or discuss philosophy?
Yeah, the sources suggest it's probably not quite there yet for that level of nuance.
Why not?
Well, think about it. The risk of transcription errors, like the rabbit salad, the flight delay, the robotic delivery, it all adds friction. For really high stakes or complex conversations where every word matters, you'd likely still want a human interpreter.
Makes sense.
But for, say, 90% of the quick interactions you have while traveling, it looks like a genuine game changer.
Now, Apple wasn't the first here, right? Google, Samsung, they've had translation tech for a while. Why is the Apple version getting so much attention?
That's a great point. Competitors definitely exist. But when Apple enters a market like this, especially integrating it so deeply with their hardware,
It raises the bar.
exactly, it raises user expectations. Suddenly, this kind of instant, pretty coherent translation isn't just a niche app feature. It becomes something people expect from their high-end earbuds and phones. It puts pressure on everyone else, Google, Samsung, but also traditional audio companies like Sennheiser or Sony to match that performance, especially the on-device low-latency aspect. It forces the whole industry forward.
So it goes from maybe a cool party trick to something that feels like a standard, essential tool for anyone traveling internationally, using the gear you likely already carry.
Precisely. It just makes crossing language barriers feel less daunting, more immediate.
So, summing it up, AirPods Live Translation delivers pretty remarkable, almost real-time conversations thanks to AI and that clever computational audio. Science fiction is definitely getting tangible.
Yeah.
Just remember, maybe speak clearly, keep sentences reasonably simple, and perhaps avoid complex questions about salads and pets in the same breath.
Sound advice. And this leads to a really interesting thought for you, our listener, to maybe chew on. Given that this system really leans into on-device processing via Apple Intelligence, how does that focus on decentralized AI change how we should feel about privacy? Especially compared to translation services that rely purely on the cloud, does processing it on your device make you trust it more?
That's a great question. What do you think? We genuinely want to hear your thoughts. Have you had a chance to try live translation yet? If you have, what was the funniest mistake it made? Or the biggest success? Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, we'd love to hear those stories.
And hey, if you found this deep dive useful, if it helped you understand this tech a bit better, please do hit that like button. Share it with a friend who might be interested too.
And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're always digging into the latest trends in AI and tech like this.
Absolutely. And don't forget to click that little bell notification icon. That way, you'll get alerted right away whenever we drop a new analysis. You won't miss a thing.